LeVine, and I want to do a talk today about depression. So, oftentimes in the summer, depression can rear its ugly head and take us by surprise. So, I have found many clients that think the summer is going to be awesome. They expect a time of fun, going to the beach, relaxing, going to concerts, being with friends, barbecuing, grilling, and all the awesome stuff you can do when it slows down. But what has surprised me and been very fascinating is often the summer impacts our mood in a negative way. So what happens is someone that has a low level of depression can become really depressed in the summer. They may have time off from school, off from college or work, and things get slow. And what happens to someone that has a depressed mind is when they are sitting around, they can start to contemplate. They can think about what went wrong in their life, things that have failed, problems that have occurred, and wondering what the future will be. I think this summer, 2016, can be even harder for some of us. There's been a lot of concerns in the economy. People talk about Brexit and the financial issues going on in Europe. They start to wonder, does this mean their business or their careers will be even harder? It's already been a tough time for many of us, and if there's another economic problem, will it make it even more challenging? Will we be able to get through it? Will it impact our earning potential, our projects that are going, our business? And what I have to say is that, first of all, you're not wrong to be depressed. It doesn't make you a weak person. It doesn't mean your character's bad. It doesn't mean you have a flaw. It means that you are struggling. And the first step to dealing with it is saying, you know what? I'm going to be honest. It's a little hard right now. I'm admitting that maybe my finances aren't where they want to be. My career's not going exactly as I'm hoping. I face more rejection than I wanted. And that is a positive step in the right direction. I want to share something really interesting in my talk. I'm working on a book that's going to be coming out. And I found this article up by a professor from Columbia University. And he looked at the Great Depression in the 1920s and 30s. And what he talked about was there was a town, I think it was Muncie, Indiana, and these sociologists went there and they decided to study these people in the early 1920s. And that town had went from in the 1890s to just being a quiet town to in the early 1920s, business was booming. People were getting wealthy. There was lots of prosperity and financial abundance, and the town was awash in their financial success. They were really thriving and doing well, and it was changing part of them. Then something interesting happened just a few years later. The Great Depression hit, and many in Muncie, Indiana lost all that they had. As the person said in the writing, the knife of the Depression cut very deep into these homes and families. And they started to look, the sociologists said, what happened? Did they change? Did they say, oh, we're not really caring about money anymore? Are we accepting that it's the economy and the world that's causing us to fail? But the exact opposite was happening. Many of the women were able to keep their jobs. They would go in being nurses or teachers and kept working, but many men were out of work. They were trying in their business or to get jobs, and they just couldn't. And instead of the men coming together and say, wow, this is a hard time. This really sucks. The economy is crappy. How do we fix it? They started to beat themselves up, and the men said, I'm a failure. I'm a loser. It's my personal fault that I'm not succeeding. And it was amazing that even though so many were facing the same thing, they were all struggling. They were all having trouble moving forward or finding success, but they all blamed themselves. And this was such an interesting thing to read about and to learn that many times during a depression, if things aren't going well, we take it on ourselves that we're bad or we're failures or we're struggling. But I say this, what if it's a time where it's really hard to get ahead? What if very few are actually thriving and seeing financial success? Does that make you a loser or a failure for not being able to do well in a really tough and down time? And I want you to think about that, because the next time you apply for a job or you put out a project or you do something that doesn't go exactly as you hope, what if you're fighting and swimming in a very hard current? Might not mean you're a bad swimmer. It might mean that the current is too strong for even you to find success. And I share this educational talk because we need honesty and openness. When men or women or children are embarrassed to talk about their emotions or to make themselves feel weak, it just creates harder and more painful feelings inside. And oftentimes the suicides that happen are because people are scared to talk about it, to be open, to say, hey, I'm having a tough time. And I believe all of us that share our emotions, even me telling you this, I face depression at times, I do my best to move forward. Being honest and open is the most positive thing you can do. The second most positive thing is to find faith, find some type of hope in religion, whether it's whatever God you believe, and keep pressing forward. Go see a therapist, see a psychiatrist, get some help. Don't battle it all alone. And I share this, and I'll openly say, even yesterday, I've been going to therapy many years. I went to see my therapist. I talked about my feelings and my emotions, and it really helped and made a big difference. So we can all seek some help and support. And if you are struggling, there's a National Suicide Prevention Hotline you can call anytime. It doesn't cost $1. They're there to listen and help. And if you can find support, go and get it. Thanks for watching. And I'm going to share my website below where we educate. And this is a book I wrote. It's my little brother who passed away from addiction and depression. And you have a great day. Thanks for watching.